back, and today I'm going to show you how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Let me start this video with some answers to frequently asked questions. No, there is no cheating involved, and also, no, you don't have to memorize what the cube looks like. Instead, we will strategically memorize a string of letters and then use that to solve the Rubik's Cube blindfolded. And there are 3 algorithms that you need to learn before watching this video: T Perm, Y Perm, and Ra Perm. I have videos on all of these explaining the moves and some tips and tricks, then you can come back to this video. To teach you the terminology of solving the Rubik's Cube blindfolded, I will use Monopoly money. Let's pretend for a moment that this is a puzzle and the goal is to get all of the numbers in numerical order. Now let's also imagine that there are some letters here. These letters aren't actually part of the puzzle, but it is something that we will use to help us memorize pieces. Alright, so I've scrambled up the puzzle. Now we will solve this using a series of swapping algorithms. These will swap 2 pieces at a time, and by repeating them, you should be able to finish the puzzle. Now, G is going to be our buffer position. This means the pieces will move into it, and then into their correct position. First off, let's solve this piece, which is already in the buffer position. So this is the 50, which I know will move into the E slot. So, I will get this piece, which is already in the E slot, do a setup move, which in this case is just moving it over this bill, do my algorithm to swap these 2 pieces, then I will undo my setup move. As you can see, the setup move and the undo setup move are just the same, but backwards. Now this 20 is in the buffer position. This will move into the D slot. Setup move, swapping algorithm, undo setup. Now, this will move into the F slot. Setup move, swapping algorithm, undo setup move. Then I will just swap these 2, setup move, swap, undo. Then I will swap these 2, setup move, swap, undo. And last but not least, I will swap these 2 bills to finish the puzzle. Now you might be thinking, how can I use these letters to solve this puzzle blindfolded? Well, I'll explain it to you now. So here's the scramble from before. This time, instead of doing all the moves, I'm going to remember which letter comes next and then do the entire puzzle in a row. So as we can see here, the 50 will move into the E slot, so I'll remember the letter E. Then this will move into the D slot, so I'll remember the letter D. This will move into F. This will move into B, this will move into C, and this will move into A. Now I will do all of these letters in a row, and this should finish the puzzle. And there we go. So you can see that I did a lot of moves, however, I only had to remember a certain amount of letters. This is what we're going to try to be doing today with the Rubik's Cube. Before we move on to the real puzzle, let's just address one more problem. This is arriving at your buffer piece before you finish the puzzle. As you can see here, my first move would be F, so I will swap these 2 pieces, but now this piece is already in its right slot. As you can see, the rest of the puzzle still isn't finished. What we will do in this case is just pick a random piece that's unsolved. Let's pick A. I will then swap these, and then I will just continue doing the puzzle. If you have done it correctly, then your last swap should put the piece back into its position. So just know that if you run into your buffer piece too early, just pick another unsolved piece and it should work itself out in the end. Good job! Now you know how to solve pieces of a puzzle blindfolded. This video is part 1 of my 3x3 blindfolded tutorial. If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe now because next week I'm going to show how you can use this knowledge to solve the Rubik's Cube blindfolded. I hope this video was helpful to you, and for the future, good luck.